Good morning, welcome to yoga. Sorry I'm running a little late this morning. I would like to welcome you and invite you into this space, even though we're not in the same physical space, to find some connection with your body, some love for your body, to connect with breath and spirit. A lot of times in the fitness industry, our goal is to change your body. That is not the goal of yoga. I am hoping that you will get stronger and more flexible, but the idea is to connect with your body where it's at, and then to be able to use that connection to be able to develop a healthier lifestyle where you cherish your body rather than beating it into some other shape. All right, so let's start out just seated. My legs are crossed, but you can be in a different position. Let me back up a little bit. And if you like, you can sit on a cushion. I'm filming here from Tahoma Athletic Club. And just open your chest, lift through the crown of the head as if there were like a string with a balloon holding your head up. And just breathe. I'm going to close my eyes here. I find I'm often very focused outward on what's going on around me, and just taking this time to focus inward helps get me centered. I'm going to do some cat and cow stretches from a seated position. So just sitting here, if you like, you can uncross your legs as well, or you can come onto all fours. I just want to show a variation today. So with your hands on your knees, you're going to lean forward, inhale, look up as you inhale, and then exhale, round chin to chest. Inhale forward. Exhale, round. Keep moving with your breath. This is really good for your back. Yesterday I was sitting in a chair for about 12 and a half hours, so working in the ED. I guess there were some times when I got up. But it's nice now to be able to stretch out my spine. All right, coming back to center, I'm going to stretch the outer hip. So I'm going to bring my right leg underneath with the foot towards the hip, and the other leg I'm bringing towards my body, and I'm just going to twist towards the left here. And now I'm going to lean forward a little bit. Just getting some stretch in the outer hip. Do the other side. So twisting and pulling this leg towards me. So I twist the spine. And now I'm gonna lean forward, getting deeper into that outer hip. And you may not be as flexible as I am, That's okay. Whatever amount that you can stretch is enough. All right. I'm gonna open my legs now, and I'm gonna give you a variation. If you want, you can come into bound ankle pose and lean forward if this next pose is too intense. I really like to come into a squat because I think this is a very handy pose to be able to come into. But it can be intense. It's okay if you're up on the balls of your feet. I'm able to keep my feet flat. And just bringing my hands to heart center. I'm just gonna allow for a stretch in the groin. And again, you can do a butterfly stretch instead if this stretch is a little bit too intense for you. Again, if you need to come back and come into a butterfly stretch, feel free. This is a really comfortable position for me. It may not be so comfortable for you. But eventually, if you stay with it and keep opening up through those hips, you will have these nice open hips that allow you to comfortably come into a squat. All right, I'm gonna release my hands, release my legs and come down, and I'm gonna make my way now into a forward fold. So stepping down, I'm gonna gently straighten the legs coming into a forward fold. I'll step back a little bit. And I'm just gonna sway here for my first forward fold. And just nod your head here. Turn from side to side. And I'm going to toe heel my feet in just a little bit because they're wider than hip distance. And roll all the way up. Opening the palms, coming into a nice open mountain pose. Inhale, circle, sweep up. Exhale, hands to heart center. All right, I'm gonna warm up my ankles and knees here a little bit. This is a favorite kind of warm up of mine. Taking the right knee, I'm just gonna circle around here, moving at the ankle. These kinds of dynamic movements before you start your practice or before you do cardio are really good to help prevent injury. And other direction. And let's settle down and let's do the other side. And other direction. And I'm just gonna circle the hips now. Getting some movement in the lower spine. My lower back tends to get tight, so it's really good for me to move around in a variety of ways. My goal is to try to maintain as much mobility as I can as I age. Other direction. And now I'm going to step out wide and I'm going to do a twist here in a moment. So first I'm going to open up big and come all the way down, following with my breath. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, release. I'm going to walk my hands over to this left foot first. And now over to the right foot. Back to center, and here's where the twist comes in. You're gonna lift up and straighten the back, and then I'm gonna peel open to the right first. And it's okay to use a block here to come higher if you need that, or to not twist as far, of course. All right, coming down, other side. And release. Okay, I'm gonna bring my heels in and my toes out and open up to sunflower. I'm just holding this pose. This is a nice, strong pose. My tail is tucked, my belly's in. I'm gonna start to engage through the legs here. So I'm gonna lift one heel and lower a bit, and then lift the other heel and lower. So really waking up my buns and thighs here. Continuing here to really work to fatigue, to develop nice strong muscles to support my knees and my hips. All right, I'm going to straighten my legs, bring my toes in, release my hands behind me, and just open up a little bit here. And I'm going to stretch up and over to one side. And up and over to the other side. And I'm going to follow the breath down. Inhale, look up. And I'm going to walk over towards this left foot. And over to the other side. Back to center. And I'm going to twist up. And release. And other side. And release, and I'm just gonna kind of do like a little skater lunge here from side to side. now bringing my heels in, I'm gonna come back into my sunflower pose, dropping into a nice strong horse stance. And I'm gonna come back into that lifting and pulsing here. Just for the fun of it, I'm gonna bring my heels in and toes out, just see how low I can go and come back up. So down low and up. And I'm gonna try actually coming even lower if I can. Straighten up, toes in, release my arms behind me, interlace and open. And now coming down. Inhale, look up, and I'm gonna walk over towards this left leg again. And then over to the right leg. Back to center, and I'm gonna twist open. And release. Other side. And release. And now toes out, heels in. I'm going to do this lunge, opening up through the inner thigh. I'm going to try just opening up deeper and deeper, coming into a really deep lunge here. This is called Skandasana. And I'm walking my hands out towards this foot to really open up through the inner thigh. All right, now I'm gonna go all the way over to the other side, and your knees may not want to do this. So you're welcome to stay up higher in a lunge. I'm just opening up deeper through this inner thigh and groin area. And hopefully my phone doesn't conk out on me during this. It looks like I'm in low power mode already. All right, and now let's come back up into our goddess pose. And from here, let's twist up and over and reach over, staying in this like sunflower stance. And I don't want you to collapse into that shoulder. Really be lifted through the body here. All right, and let's come into the other side, stretching up and over, again, not collapsing. center, dropping nice and deep here. And let's engage again here, lifting through those heels. I'm going to step in now and do some more traditional sun salutations. So bringing my feet in, hands to heart center. Inhale all the way up. Exhale, come down. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, release. Inhale all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, lift. Exhale, come down. Inhale, look up, and now I'm going to come into plank pose. Rock forward and lower. Untuck the knees, inhale, lift up. Low cobra. Sorry, hair's getting in the way. And then curl the toes under, lift up and back for downward facing dog. Inhale the right leg up. Exhale, step it between the hands or help it. Foot comes down and come all the way up in warrior two. And now we're gonna flip the front palm and reverse it here. Come back into warrior two. And I'm gonna come into extended side angle from here. So bringing the right arm to the right leg, reach up and over. You're still very lifted here, don't collapse. And come all the way up, and now I'm gonna bring my feet parallel to this side, heels in, and drop back into that sunflower or goddess. Straighten the legs, toes, feet parallel, come all the way down. I'm going to walk over towards the left leg, towards the back of my mat, and back towards the right leg. Coming through center, I'm going to lift up. Let me hop back a bit here so you can see me better. And release, other side. And release. And now I'm gonna walk back, adjusting my legs, hopping the back foot up and coming into pyramid pose. And release, come into a low lunge, step back. Rock forward, inhale, exhale down. Untuck the toes, inhale, lift up, low cobra, and make your way up and back to downward facing dog. Inhale the left leg up, exhale, step it through. Back foot comes down, come all the way up. Okay, flip the front palm and reverse it. Coming back to warrior two. Bring the left arm to the left thigh, and you're still very lifted through the body here. Reaching the arm up and over by the ear. Back up. I'm going to bring my toes in and now bring my heels in, dropping into that goddess pose or sunflower pose. It's called both. This is a very active, engaged pose. It's not easy. All right, gently straighten the legs. I'm gonna come all the way down. And I'm gonna come to the front of my mat first, reaching towards that left leg. And now I'm gonna reach towards the back leg. Coming back up through center. Oops, I'm gonna hop back so you can see my face. And then I'm gonna peel towards the back of my mat. And release. And peel towards the front of my mat. Release. And now I'm gonna kind of shift my left toe forward and my back foot up a little bit, coming into pyramid pose. And release, step back. Sorry, my hair is getting in the way. Rock forward, follow the breath down. Untuck your toes, inhale, lift up, and make your way up and back to downward facing dog. Let's do this one more time on each side. So inhale the right foot up, exhale, step it through. Back foot comes down, sweep up. Man, it feels good to flow. Flip the right palm up, stretch up and back. Coming back to warrior two, let's come into our extended side angle. So arm to thigh, stretch up and over. And coming back up, bring both feet towards the side. I'll hop back a little bit. And now heels in, toes out, engaging. Straighten, bring the toes in, come all the way down. Reach towards the back leg, stretch. And reach towards the front foot, stretch. And coming to center, I'll peel towards the front first. Here, now you can see my face. And release, and peel up towards the back. And release, and now I'm gonna shift my legs, coming into pyramid pose towards the front. And step back. Rock forward, lower, and lift, and press up and back. Float the left leg up, step it through, open up to warrior two. Didn't mean for that to rhyme. Flip the front palm, reverse. Come back to warrior two, and now reach up and over for extended side angle. Very lifted here, don't collapse into this. Okay, coming back up, heels in, toes out, opening up into our squat here. Straighten the legs, bring them parallel, coming down. Walking towards the back of the mat, towards the feet. And then walking back up towards the front of the mat. Come to center, and let's peel towards the front of the mat. And release, peel towards the back of the mat. And release, and I'm gonna come all the way down into that very low lunge where I'm stretching out again through the groin area. So it's okay if you don't come quite this low, and it's more of a working lunge. If that hurts your knee or you just don't have the flexibility in the hips to do it. Okay, I'm gonna get the other side. So coming towards the front of my mat, and I'm leaning forward here to really engage and stretch the inner thigh. And let's come back into turning around. That very low garland pose. And again, you can also do this stretch instead if garland pose isn't available for you. From garland pose, I'm gonna do one balancing pose. And I'll probably show it from the side. It's a natural place to come from garland pose. You can lean forward and lift your hips up and then bring your shins to your forearms, okay? So you can stay here if this is as far as you can come up onto the toes. This is called crow pose, all right? If you want to take it a step further, you can lift one toe and then the other and really engage through the belly here to balance. And I'm kind of cheating and sticking a toe down. And release. Nice. Should we try it again? Okay, so bringing your hands to the mat, you're in that low garland pose, and you're going to start to lift up, coming up onto the toes, and bringing the weight onto the forearms. And release. All right, let's come all the way down. Don't worry about what your poses looked like. This is just about creating a practice and about connecting with the body and just playing with it, seeing what you could do. Okay, let's come into bound ankle pose. So opening up. And now that I'm a little more opened up, I'm gonna come into a really intense stretch, but I'll show you a modification if this is too intense for you. Okay, so I'm gonna come into Manduka or frog pose. You can roll up the edges of your mat to create more cushioning. And then you're gonna bring your knees out here and just have your feet off to the side. And you don't wanna come forward or back too much. You want your hips right over the knees, and then you're gonna walk your hands forward, coming into the stretch. Another modification that you can do that I'll show is, don't tell them at the gym that I did this, because I'm gonna get the mirror dirty, but you can lie down on your back and bring your feet up. Whoops, and just stretch this way, lying on your back, okay? But I'm gonna do the more traditional Manduka for you. But just know that there's another option if that's too intense. So I'm gonna make my way back into this pose. And just relax into it, using my breath to see if I can open through the body. And notice if you're fighting this stretch or if you're telling yourself stories about, that it hurts or that you're gonna break. You're not gonna break. And hopefully it's intense, but you don't feel stinging, zinging pain. Just stay with the discomfort. The more we can learn to stay with discomfort on our mats and breathe through it, the more we can tolerate intensity in life. Now that doesn't mean we want to tolerate pain. If there's pain, then that's could potentially mean injury. So you'll have to decide whether what you're feeling is pain or intensity. And see if you can stay with intensity. Gently come out of it. And again, my battery's running low, so if I suddenly shut off, you'll know why. Let's come on to our backs now. So we're gonna lie down on our mats, coming into Shavasana. First, I'm gonna hug my knees to my knees and just rock a little bit, giving the lower body a massage. Now I'm going to give my buns a massage since they worked pretty hard. I'm going to kind of windshield wiper the legs here. That feels nice. And just stretch out, coming into your final resting pose. And you can stay here as long as you like. Wiggle your fingers and toes. Bringing your attention back to the room. And then just walking your feet up, roll over to one side or the other. And now gently come up to a seated position. Looks like my camera made it to the end. Bringing your hands to heart center. Bring your thumbs to forehead center. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm grateful for all of you and for you practicing with me. See you next week.